Welcome to another edition of T4L TV, and today we've got joining us from New York City is Andrew Bauer from Neverware.
Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome to Australia. It's your first trip, I believe?
It is my first trip.
How have you found it so far?
It's been wonderful. Sydney is beautiful. The people have been incredibly kind and generous, so I'm already thinking about when I can go back again.
Excellent. Well, we're very interested in what Neverware has to offer to New South Wales public schools, and we'll talk about the trial that we're undertaking very shortly, which actually kicked off this week. So that's something that's very exciting, but it's very interesting from my point of view in a throwaway society that we all live in these days. It's very interesting that Neverware decided at one point that they were going to look at how they could resurrect old devices. What drove the decision to do that?
Yeah, so if you go back to the very root of what Neverware is all about, it was focusing originally on the education space and the frustration that as technology pushed forward, education was really being left behind. And we took a rather counterintuitive view on what the problem was, which was not that we needed more money to fund necessarily newer, better hardware, but that the issues really were inherent in the software and the operating systems that was running on the hardware. And so that is really the root of where Cloud Ready came from. Being based in the US, we saw the wave of Chromebooks that was sort of washing over the education space back in 2013 and 2014. And we were able to get an understanding that it wasn't as much the piece of hardware that was so innovative about the Chromebook, but that it was the operating system and the cloud-based management that was really so uniquely defining about it. And what that provided was security and manageability, and perhaps most importantly, a great user experience.
That's great. You've positioned Cloud Ready to be very much targeted at the education market. Here in Australia, a lot of our schools tend to keep their hardware for very long periods of time, a lot longer than is intended by the department that rolls out computers to schools. They keep these devices as something that they hope they can continue to use. And I guess that's a common trait around the world, that you started off in the United States, obviously, and education systems around the world are probably doing very similar things. What is it, or what other systems are using Neverware at the moment?
Yeah, so you're exactly right in that one of the great disappointments that we found, which turns out to be an opportunity for our company, is that unfortunately technology and education is underfunded in most parts of the world. We did start out right in our backyard in New York City, which has amazing people that are working really hard to provide a great education for the children, but unfortunately there's just not enough money to provide the kind of technology that they need. We did have our first major launch in New York going back about 4 years ago, but since then we have schools in all 50 states. We're supporting thousands of schools in the US. And then starting last year, we started to really move internationally to the UK and Northern Europe. So we've added hundreds of schools there, as well as a major implementation that's ongoing in London. And now we couldn't be more excited to really start to invest our resources and our time in doing the same thing in Australia, starting in New South Wales.
That's great. And I hear that New Zealand's also very interested in the Cloud Ready product.
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited than the fact that Google has worked with the Ministry of Education in New Zealand to provide Google Management Console licenses to all schools that want them, and that is a necessary companion product for Cloud Ready licenses.
We see Cloud Ready is actually compatible with a wide variety of old devices. How is it that your company is able to keep up and make sure that their product is compatible with so many different vendor products, so many different chipsets, so many different hardware standards?
Yeah, and that's really the magic of what my teammates back in New York do. You know, we have an incredibly talented software engineering, quality assurance, and product team, and their role really is to make sure that on all of the devices that we certify for use with our Cloud Ready operating system, that those devices work every time. and the devices work exactly in the way that they're supposed to. So whether it be the trackpad, whether it be the audio out, whether it be all the different features that come with any given laptop or desktop, whether the OEM is Lenovo or Dell or HP or Acer or whoever it is, it's their job to integrate all of the drivers into those devices to make sure that it runs flawlessly with the cloud-ready operating system, not just the first time when we put it on the certified list, but as we're doing further releases and updates to our operating system, the job of the team back in New York is to make sure that everything works every time.
That's excellent. So as a product that turns old computers into Chromebooks, how does Google see your company or your business not to be a competitor in terms of people preferring to use their old devices rather than buying brand new Chromebooks?
It is one of the most counterintuitive parts of the Neverware story, in that Google is not only and has been a tremendous partner on both the sales and marketing side, but they're actually a large investor in Neverware. And the reason being because Cloud Ready as an operating system provides the opportunity for Google to integrate their amazing Google Management Console and not only manage Chromebooks, which is where it was originally designed to do, but now it has the ability to be integrated with all of these other PCs and Macs there are millions around the world. Once Cloud Ready is put on those PCs and Macs, laptops and desktops, then they can immediately be integrated with that Google Management Console, and schools or organizations or enterprises can then use that umbrella management to manage all of their devices in one easy, secure, cloud-based management system.
And as well as that, obviously, they're coming into the G Suite family, into the G Suite console, and they're able to provide all of those services on a vastly wider range of devices as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not directly tied in with all of the G Suite productivity tools or GCP, but all of those are part of the broader family of Google products that we deeply believe in. We use G Suite, and we think G Suite, Chrome, and Cloud Ready, they're all companion products that we think is really where the future of computing is going.
And being a platform that's so dependent on what Google does, how does Neverware actually keep pace with the changes that Google is introducing in their product range to ensure compatibility?
We're incredibly fortunate in that area to have a great partnership with Google, not only on the sales and marketing front, but we're also integrated with the folks on the product side and on the engineering side, as well as support. And what that does is it provides us the opportunity to sort of get a heads up when they're going in a direction that may affect Cloud Ready in some way, shape, or form, and also allows us, when we see things out in the field that may be affecting Cloud Ready machines and we're concerned may also affect Chrome OS, to communicate with them to make sure that the experience, whether you're using a Chromebook or whether you're using a Cloud Ready machine, is as seamless as possible.
That's excellent. Neverware is currently based in New York, and you're servicing countries around the world. Do you have any plans for a local representation in Australia?
Absolutely. We've been trying to grow in as responsible and thoughtful manner as possible, while still serving the schools and the organizations that are rapidly coming on board. So we were really excited in 2018 to put a couple of our first team members outside of the US. So now we have 3 of the team members that are operating out of London. And as we build the business in Australia and throughout Asia, we are really eager to put somebody in country here in Australia just to be the voice of Neverware closer to the customers.
Mm-hmm. And in addition, you've got local dealerships in Australia, so Geeks on Tap.
Geeks on Tap, absolutely. And we do work very closely with Google partners all around the world. So whether it's US, EMEA, or Asia Pacific, we're always looking to work with the same partners that Google, Chrome, and G Suite are working with, because we feel like that's the best way to service the end customer. They're the folks that are talking to the customers, understand what the customers in the schools want, and we think it's the best way to provide them with the product.
So a couple of weeks ago, the New South Wales Education Department launched the Bring Your Old Device trial, where we sent out an expression of interest, and very quickly, in about 6 hours, 79 schools jumped on and said they wanted to participate in this trial, where we're shipping out 1,500 Neverware licenses with the support of Google and Neverware as well. Those 79 schools are obviously very keen to try to repurpose some of their old devices and make them usable and turn them into Chromebooks. Some have never used Chrome before, never used it as an operating system. What do you hope to see come out of this trial in the next 12 months for those 79 schools and also for Neverware?
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited about this opportunity to work with the schools in New South Wales and give them their first taste of what it's like either with Cloud Ready or on the Chrome platform. Our goal here is to just give them a sense of how much easier computing can be and that oftentimes it's easy to blame the hardware when you have a bad experience, when you turn on a computer and it takes 60 or 90 or 120 seconds to boot up, and then you launch a browser and it may take another 30 or 45 or 60 seconds. What we've heard from the schools that have worked with us is that whether it be a 4-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old laptop or desktop, once you put Cloud Ready on those devices, it's such a lightweight operating system that's easy to use that suddenly devices are booting in 25 seconds and the browser is launching instantaneously. And that in retrospect, the hardware isn't necessarily the problem, but it was just that you had an operating system that's on there that became too weighed down and too complex and really wasn't the best product to deliver the way curriculum and the way technology is being delivered in education today, which is primarily through web applications. And so while Windows might have been the right operating system 15 or 20 years ago for many of the schools, we feel like the time is now for Cloud Ready and Chrome.
We still have a significant number of schools in New South Wales that are using Windows 7 devices that aren't able to upgrade to Windows 10, and that's a security issue because we can't deliver security updates to Windows 7 any longer. We've got concerns about their viability on the network, and if the Neverware Cloud Ready product as part of this trial turns out to be a viable solution for making those devices more suitable to today's technology requirements, I think we're going to have a very positive outcome from this trial, and we're going to be able to provide these schools with a lot more devices that they can put in front of their students. So thank you very much for your time in this session and for all of the work you've done in preparing us for this trial. We look very much forward to what it is that the schools are going to come back with and feed that information through to your company as well, so that you can further develop your product and make sure that it fits the needs of schools in New South Wales. So thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing how the trial proceeds from now.
Thanks so much for your partnership.